Okay guys, so got another training video for you here on hybrid training. So this is part of the series that I've created. You can see here that it says balancing strength training and running, but that could be balancing strength training with any chosen endurance discipline. That could be cycling, it could be running, it could be swimming, it could be a combination of all, and whatever you've chosen to do to build up your hybrid training routine. Now in this video, we're going to be covering weekly training structure and giving you an insight into why we set up things in a certain way so that you can understand why you're doing things. Like in my personal experience from working with other coaches in the past, I've not only been more adherent to a program, but I've enjoyed it more when I've understood why I'm doing a certain thing. So, why was I doing a leg session before an upper body session? Why was there vertical movements in this training session and then horizontal in the other ones? So that's why I want you guys to be able to learn, not just get a result. Like obviously you're working one-to-one with us to help you, to help us move you towards the goal, whether that's, improving performance, losing body fat, a combination of that. But I want people to be able to learn and understand why they're doing things, because it's a lot more enjoyable. So I'm actually just going to skip to the end of the presentation and kind of start here. So understanding this is all in an aim to maximize your result and minimize sessions missed. Now they obviously come together, so if you can minimize or reduce sessions missed, the chances of you maximizing your results are going to be a lot higher. And the reason that I'm going into this is because that is a common complaint that I hear, not only from people outside of the program, but in the program as well. It's missing sessions, because generally everyone on the training program is busy. Like you've all got good jobs, earning good money in most cases. Some of you are married with kids and things like that. So it's super important to try and get all these training sessions done, because from our point of view, there's no point setting you up with a program that has 5 or 6 sessions a week in, but you're only completing 3 or 4. That you'll have heard that in check-ins from us. So yeah, it's all to do with maximizing results by minimizing the sessions missed. So we'll just start from here. So again, a big part of this is you understanding why we've put something together in a certain way. Now, why is structure so important? So a lack of structure with your training routine, well, it will lead to less routine. It will not give you a solid routine to follow week to week. Like you have a routine of everything else. You go to work at a certain time. I always use the example of, you clean your teeth twice a day at a certain time. You probably eat your meals at a similar time. You do similar things on the weekend. Same goes for your training. You need a structure and routine there. Otherwise, you'll just find sessions getting missed and there'll be holes in your program. Whenever you don't have a routine and a structure, and I find this myself, I'm handling a lot of workload and a lot of training. When I don't have a structure there, I get incredibly overwhelmed. I still get everything done, but I feel a lot more stressed. And if I'd actually just taken the time to sit down and write down things and doing things in a similar order and a structured order, you can reduce the overwhelm and the stress. And that's not something that we want you guys to be experiencing, is overwhelm and stress, because that can wreak havoc on other aspects of the program. If you're stressed, you might turn to food. If you're stressed, your testosterone will reduce. If you're stressed, it can impact your sleep. So if you're stressed from overwhelm, from a lack of routine, it can impact the result indirectly. A lack of structure obviously will lead to sometimes missed training sessions, as I mentioned before, which will significantly reduce the chance of you getting a good result. And that's what I mentioned there, just subpar results. Like if you miss, let's say, 1 in every 10 sessions, you're still going to get a good result, but it's not going to be quite as good as the person that completed all the sessions. And obviously we want to be striving for 100% at all times. Like why wouldn't you? You've chosen to invest in the program and put the work in. I know my training routine inside out and I stick to it religiously, like regardless of what's going on. It's rare that I'll move a training session, because I just like to know exactly what I'm doing on whatever day, and that gives me the structure for my work as well. So on a busier day of training, I'll do slightly less work, and then conversely on a rest day, I'll do more work on that day, and that's how my week is structured. I actually put a screenshot in the group chat this morning that got a really good response about how I didn't really want to do my easy 10k run this morning in Dubai in 35-degree heat, but it was literally the only time that I could do it, so I got it done. So yeah, if you know your training routine and you just know that on Thursday I'm doing upper body B, it's so much easier to stick to, because it just takes away that mental stress and overwhelm of thinking when and why you're going to do certain things. I mentioned the hybrid spectrum in the last video, but essentially this will allow us to build your program and know what to put in it. So your program is obviously dictated by your goals. So if you want to build muscle, you need to be training three times a week minimum. And if obviously you've got an endurance goal, then that needs to be in your program to some respect. what's the priority goal right now? What's the focus point? For example, a few clients are more physique focused, therefore are focusing more on the strength training to shape and tone their body. And then, for example, they might transition on to more endurance training in the summer. We have a few clients doing that, and then obviously that will flip their routine. They'll do slightly less strength to maintain their physique and more endurance to build that up. So as I said before, that will dictate your program setup. And a massive thing for the people that we coach is time availability. If someone can only train 5 times a week, we're not going to give you an 8-day training split. It would just not, it would not make any sense. Obviously that would include double days. There's not 8 days in the week, but it wouldn't make any sense. It's all about striving for 100% compliance or close to that. So we've got to give you a training split that is realistic for you, because again, if you've got too much to do, that's just not possible. It's going to prevent overwhelm. I think it's important to say, do not look at what anyone else is doing. Like, obviously, naturally, you will look at other people on the program and thinking, oh, well, if they're doing 6 training sessions, then I need to be doing 5 or 6. But it's not quite as clear cut as like the more training sessions you do, the quicker the results you get, because quite often those people will be eating more food and things like that. So if we talk about a fat loss goal, that would be more about controlling the nutrition. But essentially what I'm trying to say here is just don't compare yourself to anyone else. It's not a nice place to be. Someone else might have more time than you. They might just want to choose to put more time into their training. Like, some people have free time, but they're just quite, honest with us and say, look, I'm not going to go to the gym more than 4 days a week. It's just not something I want to do. And that's totally fine. Current fitness and experience levels, like I do 4 runs a week now. I wouldn't have been able to do that 2 years ago. I would have been able to do maximum 2. So that has to be taken into account, because your fitness level will dictate your ability to recover from training sessions as well. So that has to be taken into account. There are multiple ways to get a result. So you don't need to be training X amount of times in the gym to reach a certain result. That's why some people do 3 strength sessions a week, and that's why some people do 5. It's all about accumulating a certain amount of training volume over the course of the week. And that goes for the same of endurance. Now, endurance, if you do want to get fitter, it would make sense to ramp up the training volume and you will get fitter quicker. But if that's not possible for you to do and you don't have time to do that, you're much better off just bringing your training sessions down and focusing on quality training sessions and recovering from them. So I've got a few examples, and the main thing that you're going to notice here is that the client's calendar gets more full, and obviously the fuller it gets, the less flexibility and scope there is to move around training sessions. Now, I wouldn't really recommend moving around training sessions, because I think it, again, going back to what we were saying before, it gives you too much option to do that. So I would always say, in an ideal world, try and stick to the same training days per week. It does wonders for your routine, and it'll allow you to build a better routine with your social life and work outside of your training routine. But if you need to move them around, like, you can do that, and you can ask us for guidance on that. So example here, obviously these are all hybrids training examples. This is what we're talking about in this video. So 3 strength sessions and 1 to 2 runs. Lots of flexibility, a good amount of gaps in the training program. So strength on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Got recovery day in between. You've got an easy run on Tuesday, just 1 run a week, and then you got your check-in form. But that gives Thursday, Saturday and Sunday as rest days, and days that you could potentially move things around if you need to. So tons of flexibility there. Example 2, 4 strength sessions, 2 to 3 runs or endurance sessions. And you can see here, given there's less gaps in the program, the flexibility is becoming less to move things around. So you've got, in this example, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, back-to-back, Friday rest day, Sunday rest day, Saturday training day. Obviously could move these around, but I think it's good to have a couple of rest days towards the end of the week, just because purely people tend to be more social on the weekend, and they like to go out and things like that. But it's not really about the days that you train, it's about the amount of days that you train, and understanding that there are less rest days the more training you do, obviously. You can double up on certain days. That's what I do. I personally like to double up on a couple of training days and run in the morning and lift in the evening, so that I can actually take a full rest day on a Thursday and then pretty much a full rest day on a Saturday, so I can just focus on recovery and have a bit of a mental break from training altogether. But that really does depend on the client. Like, some people cannot be running in the morning and go to the gym in the evening. Their schedule doesn't permit it. And then the final example, I think we've only got like 2 people on the program doing this at the moment, but essentially they're doing 7 or above training sessions a week. And this would usually be for someone who's on a race prep. So this girl, for example, is is doing half marathon prep, and she wanted to maintain 4 strength sessions a week. I gave her the option to drop that, and we've got another girl who's training for a half Ironman, but this is rare. So 4 strength sessions and 3 to 4 runs or endurance sessions a week, and as I've said, minimal flexibility. So what we could have done is spread all 7 sessions over the week, but in this case we chose to double up on a Monday and just get more training volume done. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday off fully, and then a run on the Sunday. So as we said here, doubling up and rest days are recommended, just because I found personally I get better recovery overall in a training block by taking a full day off. It's just a bit of a nice mental reset. But obviously we would put this together for you. We'd give you the guidance on this. It just gives you a bit of an insight into what something might look like and our rationale behind. So considerations, obviously, things we need to take into account when putting this together for you. Again, every single client is different. Communication is required to build the best plan for you. Now, we obviously built your program off the consultation form that you filled in when you joined us, so it's not as though we're giving you something that would be unrealistic for you. If someone said they can only train twice per week, I would kind of message them and say, look, you probably need to be doing more. And if someone, I don't think I've ever put together a 6 or a 7 day training split for someone from week 1, unless they're a special case and they've been training a lot before, because we would rather see full compliance for a month at, let's say, 4 to 5 training sessions, and if the client's proven they can do that, then we'll bump them up, because it's not good from a kind of self-confidence point of view to start a program and see yourself missing sessions. But I truly believe anyone can do what they've agreed to do when signing on with us, but if we need to make changes, then we can. Considerations, obviously work. Most of the clients we have, typical Monday to Friday, they like to train between Monday and Friday and take either 1 or 2 days off on the weekend. If you're self-employed like me, you're probably working every single day and it doesn't even matter. Personally, I like to do a decent amount of training on the weekends, just something I like to do. Always like to run on a Sunday morning. And some people just, maybe they enjoy more training on the weekend. People are obviously generally more free on the weekend, so they might put some of their training volume there. But I have a lot of clients at the moment that like to just put in the hard work through the week with work and training, and just take the weekend off and spend time with their family and partners and stuff. Again, going on to that, family and social life. Do you have kids? We need to work around that. You're going to be a lot more busy than the younger people on the program. Are you out on the weekends consistently? If you know that you're having even a couple of drinks on a Friday, it's not going to be optimal for you to train on a Saturday, and we would have given you the guidance there. And also, if you are trying to get a training session in on Saturday or Sunday after potentially drinking on Friday, are you actually going to miss that training session? Because there's some people that can train on hangovers and get it done. I'm one of them, because I'm just committed to that fully, and it's a non-negotiable. I know some people, worked with other people in the past, where they'd intended on going to the gym on Saturday and they're still hungover from Thursday and they don't do it. So that's all things to take into account. And there's a lot that goes into a program. We are thinking about these things when we're putting it together for you, because what we are trying to do is maximize your result. That's what you're coming to us for. It's what you're paying for. And by doing that, in order to do that, we need to minimize the sessions missed. That's what we need to do. So I hope that was useful. A bit of a different one, but it goes without saying, as you move into hybrid training, your training volume generally you'll need to be doing more training than someone who's just going to the gym. But that's obviously a choice that you make. But yeah, hope that was useful.